Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel where I teach you to learn how to cope and remind you that you're not alone. Coping, self-care, what's the difference? Is there a difference? That is what we're going to be talking about in today's video, so if that is something that you're interested in learning more about, please keep watching. So I had planned to do this video for a while now because back when I was doing the research for this channel, I'd asked a bunch of people what their favorite form of self-care was, and the vast majority of them gave me coping mechanisms. So it came to my attention that maybe people don't know the difference. So I'm making this video to give you guys an idea of what's considered a coping mechanism and what is considered a self-care strategy and why you need both. So let's start off by looking at some definitions. So the definition of a coping mechanism is an adaptation to environmental stress that is based on conscious or unconscious choices that may enhance control over our behavior. Whereas a self-care strategy is the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. So in other words, the way I like to think about it is coping mechanisms are the work and self-care strategies are the maintenance. So when you think about it like that, coping mechanisms are what you do to help you get through hard times, whereas self-care strategies are what you do every single day so that those hard times don't come as frequently. I know the vast majority of us, myself included, don't perform self-care as much as we should. I used to have a very strict self-care schedule that I did every day, and it made me feel amazing, and my mental recovery was so good at that time. I have recently not done it as much, which is horrible, and that's been proven because the last few weeks have been really hard for me. I know you guys are all good at coping mechanisms because when I asked for self-care strategies, the vast majority of you guys gave me distraction, whether it was through video games or through something else. I know I use video games as distraction most times than not. I made a video, I will link it up here, that my first video was about distraction via video games. But that is a coping mechanism. That is not a self-care strategy. So we are great at coping mechanisms. Problem is we need to learn a little bit more about self-care. So we are going to be talking about that first. So a self-care strategy is anything that you do for yourself. My favorite form of self-care is having long hot baths while reading a really good book and trying to just disconnect from everyone and everything. I'm not very good at this because I still go on my phone while I'm in the bath sometimes, but I'm working on it. But I still take time for myself. I still focus on myself, and it's just great. Another thing that you can do is meditation. Meditation is so relaxing, and there's a lot of misconceptions about meditation. I am doing a video on that in the next coming weeks, so look out for that one. So let's go over some of the more common things that people do without even realizing that they're self-care. Taking a nap, making yourself a nice meal, wearing your favorite outfit that makes you feel like a badass. These are all self-care because you're taking time to think about yourself and what you need. So before we move on to coping mechanisms, I want you guys to pause the video right here, go down to the comment section, and write me what your favorite form of self-care is because I want to know what you guys do to make yourself feel better every day. We are going to start our coping mechanism section by talking about my favorite form of coping, distraction. I know that most of you also use distraction, whether you know it or not, because when I ask what you do for self-care, most of you guys say you play video games. Playing video games is a distraction because you're not thinking about whatever is bothering you, you're focusing on something else. It's not a bad thing, it's not a negative thing, but it's also not self-care, it is a coping strategy. So the next coping mechanism we're going to be talking about is avoidance. So avoidance can seem a lot like a distraction because you're still not focusing on what is bothering you, but you're not necessarily using something to get your mind off of it. I personally avoid things all the time. I'm very bad about this with school. I pretend that I don't have certain classes or that I don't have exams by just not thinking about them, not going to that class, and then stressing a lot when it's time for exams because I haven't gone to that class. So for me, avoidance is a very unhealthy coping mechanism because it causes me a lot of stress and anxiety further down the road. But for other people, it may be the only thing that they have to help them get through hard situations. which doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. No coping mechanism is 100% bad or 100% good. They are there to help us get through hard times, and everyone is different, everyone's situation is different, so everyone's coping mechanism choices are going to be different. So let's do a little bit of a recap. So self-care, that is our maintenance. Those are things that we do every day to keep us feeling good. Coping strategies, these are skills that we have to help us get through hard times when they come up. Not the same thing, but both very important. And if you still haven't commented below to tell me what your favorite self-care skill is, please do that. I really want to know. And if you liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you want to see my future videos, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you know when my videos go live, which is every Friday at noon Eastern. So until next time, be kind to others, but most importantly, be kind to yourself. And bye for now.